Hey guys, welcome to another thrill-packed, laid-back, oxymoronic episode of the Church Media Guys Show. If you want to learn how to use and exploit media and technology so that you can take the gospel to the world and beyond, then click the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you don't miss a thing. With me, as always, is my cohort, my partner in crime, the guy with the dragon haircut, Justin Nava.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here. And this is just called the Nava. It's been called the Ledge or the Cliff. I don't know. You wanna try it yourself?
Look at that.
Just tell
the
them
Nava.
4 on the sides and back, and leave about 1.25 inches on top, and floof it up at the front.
I like that.
And they'll get it mostly right, and then you got to fix it with product, and yeah, you'll be good to go.
I should do the Nava. I should like they should think that we're twin brothers. I should
They should. I get confused because Alec Baldwin had this haircut when he was on 30 Rock for a few seasons, so people always mistake me for him.
Right.
So
they
yeah, it's
automatically
very annoying.
They automatically assume that you're a total jackwagon. Is that right? They walk up and want to slap
how
you.
Really feel.
They walk up. They want to tell you did great in the Hunt for Red October. Then they want to slap you.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on, guys? Yeah, the beard is here. The beard is here to stay, apparently. So you guys liked it. Pete, I know Pete sent me an email that was like, don't lose the beard. And then I lost the beard. And if you haven't heard the story, my wife and daughter hated it. So
yeah. Pete unsubscribed.
My daughter was like, you're not handsome anymore. So I said, all right. I guess I'm going to just throw away the 80 razors I have left and just let's just go with the beard for 2020. So I am here in the flesh, in the beard. Question of the day. We're talking about 2020 today. What are you most excited for coming in 2020?
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction of your own? Because we're gonna review our predictions from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of a tradition here. We make predictions for the following year. So we review past year's predictions because a lot of people just throw predictions out there and they're never accountable for it. I don't want CTA to be like that. So when we make predictions, we want you to see that either A, we were right, we were off the mark, or C, we were totally wrong. And I think we've been totally wrong once in the last 3 years we've done this. So let's go on.
Literally got everything wrong. I mean, just completely.
No. Like we've never got
everything went the other direction.
Like we usually make 5 predictions a show, and like I think in 2018 we got one thing totally wrong. I don't remember what it was about. You can go look at last year's show. But this year I'm pretty excited because we got most of it right. And that just makes me more excited to talk about 2020. So let's rewind.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You can. That's our sound bites there. Our cassette rewinding. Yeah. Our kids, do they not know what cassette rewinding sounds like? Is that
I don't think they know.
Era?
I don't think they know what that sounds like. I mean, they hear me doing some with the radio imaging packages that I have, but my daughters found one of our cassettes, and I said, do you know what this is? And they both said it's an old cassette tape. So they knew what it was for, and I said, what do you put it in? And they stopped and thought, and then they remembered there was one in my closet, and so they went and found my dual cassette deck that's sitting in the closet there.
The only cassettes we have in this house, aside from my dad's VCR collection that's just collecting dust, I have a bunch of mini DV cassettes sitting here from a couple of freelance video gigs I did, and it's like I don't know what to do with these.
I got a couple of filing cabinets full of those.
10 or 13 years ago, and I don't know what to do with them, and I'm scared to throw them out. And then like a month later, they're going to be like, "Hey, can we get more copies of that?"
Right. Yeah. It's
I don't
funny.
have the digital files anymore.
So just as an aside for everybody, I remember back in probably 98, 99. I wanted to start a side business doing video digitizing because VHS were 15, 20 years old at that time. And so, people had, they were going to start to degrade, especially some of the older stuff that first came out. And so I thought, you know what? We've got people's films, people's VHSs, all that sort of stuff. We should start doing that. So I started doing a little bit of my own, and I never really made a business out of it or anything. I did some stuff for some friends, but nothing major. And then fast forward to now, another 20 years has gone by, and I still have a bunch of VHS cassettes that I need to do, and I've got I have got my daughters, the first half of my daughter, both of my daughters' lives are on those mini DVs. And I'm like, yeah, they're going to start degrading here. It's already at that point where this new technology that I remember so clearly is really aged out now.
End of story.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was waiting
by the
for
way,
some
if
sort
you
of a
didn't know,
reflexive listening or anything from you and stuff. Did you like go
I
wash
thought
the
you were gonna
car or
say
something?
I thought it was going to end with something like, so I took those mini DVs and they're now on DVDs and hard drives or something like.
Yeah, no,
I thought
okay.
there was more coming.
Okay, so I have a whole bunch of those that I need to do, and
Gotcha.
I have found, I have a TriCaster out on the set in the garage, and one of the things that I did was I started using the TriCaster to do the capturing, especially with some of the like the VHS and stuff. Instead of hooking up a little over the counter dongle or something like that, I was like putting it into a really high end unit and recording some really high, I mean like probably 100 megabits a second, I mean just ridiculous quality and stuff. And it really helps. So just word from the wise, if you are doing stuff like that and you have access, try to capture it at the highest level you can, and then transcode it up to like 720p or something, and then archive it. So just
another word to the wise, not everyone's going to have this, but if you don't have the equipment, it only seems to be getting more expensive every year. Many public libraries, many of your local libraries will have equipment that you can put a VCR set in or a mini DV cassette or any kind of cassette, and then they will convert it over into a digital file you can take with you.
Yep.
I don't know about the quality of it, but if you're just down on your luck or just I got to get this done, and I don't want to buy more equipment for it that I'm going to use this one time and then have to sell myself or whatever, never get used again, check your local library. They will have some stuff that can read them and record them into a DVD or something like that. So let's go into our predictions here. So I have our 2019 predictions. Speaking of the past, 2019.
Yes.
And let's start off with my big prediction that only kind of half happened, which was that 5G will finally start making a difference for the internet. I imagined, especially this is coming off of net neutrality still, I imagined a place where it's not going to matter because everyone's going to have their own 5G access to, so instead of high-speed internet being provided by only one cable provider or maybe a 25 megabit per second internet line provided by your phone provider, we're going to have, just like with cell phones in the U.S., we have 4 different carriers we can pretty much go to. So there's a little bit of competition. It's nothing like Europe or Canada where you got 20 people you can go to, but more competition, the better. And so I said, hey, we're going to finally start having some major consumer rollout in 2019. And it's kind of here.
Handsets are getting ready.
Handsets are getting ready. Like there's a couple places in Houston. There's one tower. Dallas, I think there's like one tower that's doing 5G, but like no one's advertising it yet because I don't think
T-Mobile bought up a bunch of that 600 megahertz
the
spectrum, the ones that ruined a whole bunch of our handheld mics and wireless mics and stuff at our churches. Y'all can thank T-Mobile; they're the ones that snatched that up.
Yeah, but it was going to happen by someone eventually. Sure. By the way, T-Mobile Tuesday is today if you're watching live. So I said it was going to finally start making a difference. I feel like now at the end of 2019, it hasn't made a difference. But T-Mobile just released like 200 cities. It's coming in spring, 5G, and Verizon's pretty much kicking up right now as well. I don't know what AT&T's doing. Or Sprint. I think Sprint was burned because they were the first one to come out with 4G WiMAX and ended up losing to LTE.
Yeah, they were the beta
technology garble. So, anyways,
they were Betamax.
So this one, I can't say I totally missed it, but we were definitely off the mark.
Yeah,
we're getting ready. I think
slower.
2020 is the year. Like I said, T-Mobile's already rolling out. I use T-Mobile. I'm a fan of T-Mobile.
Except for at Kroger, right?
Except what?
Except for at Kroger.
Except for at Kroger, yeah. If you missed the pre-show, you missed it. You don't understand that story. Be here when we start streaming live at 10:30 a.m. CST. But I say we missed the mark on this one because 5G, it's not mainstay, it's not consumer ready. But you know what? I think we'll talk a little bit later. I think 2020 will be ready. You said in 2019, church digital footprints will continue to grow, not only for live streaming for services, but also weekly informative content. And and then you also said that we'll adopt the selfie mode and streaming, and pastors will get more comfortable sharing away from the pulpit. I think for sure this one is a yes. Like, yeah, we've got more people streaming, more people storytelling, but also more people doing more behind the scenes stuff and getting in front of people. We definitely don't have majority approval on like the pastors doing stuff outside of the pulpit, but we are more growing. I think the more pastors that I talked to this year recognize that something needs to be done different, and they just don't have that vocabulary,
right?
Or know-how, which is kind of why we're here. So, anything else you noticed with that, Dave?
Just it's becoming the need for doing it. I think everyone that is becoming more ubiquitous. Does that make sense? That even churches that aren't. I mean, we're number one question. The two main questions or issues that we see when people come to join the Church Media Hacks group is how to start or improve their live stream. It's centered around live streaming. And then the other one is how to effectively use social media and build engagement and do stuff like that. So I know that people are realizing the need and they're taking baby steps and all that, and that's a good thing. I mean, you and I have been saying that more than anything that this digital landscape is a mission field. It's no different than walking and prayer walking neighborhoods and doing stuff like that. It's just that it happens in ones and zeros, and I'm glad that is being seen, the need for that is being seen, and that more people are starting to take a bite of that apple. I think that's really good. One of the things that you said was that Amazon will continue to dominate the landscape, and that like more smart speakers and Alexa stuff will be happening. And I think that is, I haven't been paying attention to the smart speaker landscape. What I have noticed, though, is that more and more and more and more and more things are Alexa enabled, including they've even got a unit now that you can drop in your car, that can like Bluetooth with your stereo and stuff, and you can basically do. And I don't know about you, but I'm not kidding. This happened to me yesterday. I was coming out of the grocery store, and there was a question in my mind, and so when I got in the car, I said, Alexa, what is the, and then I was like, when I'm in the car, I'm supposed to say, okay, Google. Okay, hang on. Let me get this right.
Now everyone's, no matter what you got. Hey, Siri, let's just set that one off.
Yeah, exactly. So there it went. But, that's the thing. And that kind of moves us into this thing about the virtual assistant or the personal assistants or whatever. I think that has really taken off this year, and more and more semantic search is becoming a huge thing, and that people can ask a question and these devices are able to gear us towards an answer. And I think I don't think we're ever coming back from that. I mean, I really don't. In fact, I see a point where there will be a mixture just when you're sitting at your desk, typing and working on stuff like that, that you'll be asking, as you're typing, you could be working on something else, ask another question, and another window pops up and starts finding an answer for you. I see that kind of a hybrid thing happening. Just if you want to, just move over into predictions a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be happening this year, but it's going to be more and more and more like we saw, in Star Trek, where there's this microphone everywhere, and you ask the computer something, and while you're working on other stuff or doing something else, the computer's assisting you, feeding you other information, or throwing things to different screens. We can already do stuff like that, where you can look up something and say, send it to my phone, or when you get there, you can pick up where you left off on your desktop. So I think that's going to be more and more and more. The question is, how are we as churches and ministries going to make use of that and tap into that technology to help serve our community and reach more people? That's yet to be seen.
Yeah, 100%. It didn't grow like we thought it would because
everybody's got an Alexa now.
Yeah, they ended up investing in other things, but we do have pretty consistent one-day delivery across most major markets.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also another reason why they just haven't grown, because I think they realized how tough that actually is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, if no one realized how little Black Friday was in the news, because it just doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
This year, you could have even forgotten about it because just no one cared. Everyone
Right.
was ordering online or waiting for Cyber Monday, or already got their stuff together for Prime Day. Yeah, it made so little difference because Amazon culture is here, the deliver to me culture. So I think that was very evident in 2019. I also predicted that personalization will get a lot easier. This is something that's really hard to measure, but you do feel when it's used against you. For example, whenever you're searching, what was it? I was searching for a gift for someone. My wife was saying, oh yeah, you need to search for this. And so I was like, okay, a gift for this person. Okay, there's this brand. Let me look for this one. And now, of course, you get it everywhere. You're getting ads on Google,
Yeah.
ads on Facebook, ads everywhere. They know everything about you, and they're listening to you as well. What's up? What's up, Amazon? But it's really a hard thing to measure. But, I think along the same line, we're still getting to that point of, we want everything to kind of, all that data to sync together. And there are companies that I've talked to that see this future and are trying to get into it with the church and bring the church into that, where you can just update one place and all your places are updating that personalization. Summit Church, I believe, Rob Lauder's church, they have personalization on their website. So if you're a member and like they've cookied you or something like that, like you will get a different website than a visitor that will have personalized information for you and your family based on if you've logged into their system yet. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's a pioneer. That church is a pioneer for that. I was very excited to see it and see how it works. And so, yeah, so we kind of got there. It's just, that's something that's really hard to measure, but is still getting a lot growier, easier to grow.
Right.
Growier. That's my new word of the day. And then also we talked about, more churches will need to learn more churches in 2019 will learn the need to increase interaction and growth on their digital communities. Yeah, again, we still have those Amish churches that are like, nope, not interested. But the ones that are getting in there that I'm talking to see the potential and are ready to double down on it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we're paying more attention to, I get more calls now. How do we measure this? How do we track this? How do we measure success? 100%. We still want to measure and see that interaction grow.
Yeah. One that I said kind of alongside with that one was that more churches will need to start seeing the need to reach out to counterculture a little bit more, and we were using Pastor Susie and the God Squad kind of as the example. You're more into the gaming side. Have you seen more of the Pastor Susie type of thing happening on Twitch or Mixer?
Yeah, so more pastors are jumping on there and using Twitch as a ministry. I'm not on Mixer. I don't pay attention to Mixer. But yeah, more pastors are jumping on. More communities are jumping on.
Good.
To form their, like a women's community.
Good.
Pastor church community. The God Squad Church is just insanely growing with now their physical plant coming in. It's been really good. And then also, you see, this is something that, we can't really get metrics for, but you also see things like in my Nerd Pastors Facebook group, Nerd Pastors, search and join the group. One guy is playing Dungeons and Dragons. He's got like 3 D&D groups going on at his church to specifically reach them.
Yes.
And when he got pushback by the leadership, he was like, guys, this is necessary. It is counterculture, but come watch. And like, he had like 3 deacons or something, maybe just one, just like roam the game tables and report back to the others. Like, no, this is pretty cool. Like, people are connecting here.
Yeah.
And people are getting something they don't get anywhere else from church. So yes, you can continue. So things like that, I think we're realizing we need to show Jesus in more things than just a building with four walls.
Exactly.
And so I think we're embracing that a little bit more. A couple other things, churches are having more game nights. Not just we're having a lock-in and there's a Wii in the closet,
Right.
but actual
No.
like come and let's play games together and start a conversation that way. I know one church was doing Magic the Gathering tournaments or something like that. It's so like we're embracing, and of course I'm just a nerd, so that's the only ones I know. Maybe there's other people doing. I can't even think of what my wife would go to, but other than the knitting circles or whatever we used to have, we are embracing a little bit more of that. Come here and let's. I went to a church that had a Charles Dickens Christmas marketplace.
Nice.
It was basically a craft fair.
Cool.
But it was like Charles Dickens themed, and everyone was dressed up and like. You don't think of a church, right? You might think of your community market or town square or farmer's market, but no, this was a church putting it on, and it was really well done.
Yeah, and you
really
know why?
Well, and a lot of people are coming into that church and interacting with that church without necessarily being afraid of being preached to. But it was just a really good first impression and a way to get people in the building. What's the word I'm looking for? Familiar with your brand,
right? Yeah.
And ease that anxiety for when you follow up. You're normal people, you're fun people. My kid had fun.
Well, and you touched on what the heart of the problem is. The heart of the problem is that the church has become, over the decades, has become more and more insular, more and more in the world but not of the world, and they've taken that to a disastrous extreme. That people look at the church and go, our churches aren't relevant anymore. No one gives a rat's about the building. And in fact, I literally was in the car with a guy a few years ago. And this guy is worth, I don't know, $50-60 million. And we were driving and they saw a billboard for First Baptist. And it was, it mentioned something about, or it had a picture of the church and Pastor Jeffress and something else, a couple of families or something. And he said, God, what a huge waste of money making a big building like that. And, I can't believe they could be like building water wells or something like that. And this guy's an atheist, and that's the thing, because we have made our churches irrelevant to our culture, to our communities. And so when you mentioned that you're starting to see these sort of things, and it's kind of surprising for people that it shouldn't be surprising. It shouldn't be surprising at all. We live in these. Do you understand? We live in these. I'm talking to the viewer, not to you, even though I'm looking at you, Justin. Do you understand?
You're not even looking at me. I think my Skype cam's on a different camera.
No, it's two different cameras. Yes, there's Justin right there looking at it on Skype, and then there's the audience. There's they're right next to each other. But do you understand that we live in these communities? I mean, I have people across the street from me that I go to the grocery store with. I see them, I wave at them. We're in these communities. We sit on the other side of restaurants from these people. They're 2 rows in front of us at the movie theater. We are living in this community. Why are we not participating and hosting in this community with our churches? We have a community of people in there. Why not have a summer bash and get a whole bunch of blow-up water slides and have the kids from the apartment complexes come over and play on a Saturday afternoon? Why not do that? Why is that like, oh, I don't know if we should do that. I just don't know. Why not have a Dungeons and Dragon thing? Oh, I don't know. That's right. Really? Have you? I mean, that's ridiculous to even question that. Do you honestly think? Do you really honestly think that people are in there with like chicken blood and like cauldrons of bubbling stuff like that, and they're actually in there casting spells and doing? No, they're playing a game. It's Monopoly. They're playing a game. They're goofing off and stuff. Why would you even question that? Why would you have to? Well, we'll have to make sure that this is not going to be. Really? You just get out. We don't want to minister to you. That's the thing. No, I'm sorry, rant over. Make your church a member and later a leader in the community.
That's right. I got one more prediction. 2019 predictions over.
Yes.
Let's go into 2020 predictions. Okay. I have one prediction. Brian Ramsey will become a CTA Insider.
And we'll not need glasses because it'll be 2020.
That's right. Brian, yeah, let's talk about being a CTA Insider. But we had a couple people join the last couple weeks. Very excited. If you don't know what CTA Insider program is, it's basically a membership program where you get access to me and Dave twice a month. You get access to us basically every day in the Facebook group, and then also training courses inside the actual website where you can learn how to, we say, maximize your ministry. But what does that mean? That means, take your sermon, how to podcast it, how to live stream better, how to get your camera better set up, how to get your website better set up. Next year, we'll be talking about a lot more media stuff and marketing stuff to get people aware of you and do things excellently with your media. And so we're going to cover a lot of things next year. And if you become a CTA Insider, you have input on kind of where we go. You can ask us direct questions. So if someone gets the course, we'll help you and support you the best we can. But the insiders, we can actually look at you and say, this is the setup that you're missing. Mm-hmm. This is the setting that you're missing. Let's troubleshoot this. We helped Tommy troubleshoot his computer over the course of 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And it was really good that you can't get that anywhere else without paying, a few hundred or $1,000
big consulting fee.
Consulting. So, which we can consult, but it's pretty cheaper to do a CTA Insider. So
one of the things that
churchtrainingacademy.com/join. And I predict that you will be a 2020 CTA Insider.
One of the things that our insiders get to do that a lot of people don't get to do is they literally can say, Justin, can you teach me how to whatever it is? And if Justin knows how to do it, he'll do it. If he doesn't know how to do it, he will find some resources and you'll be learning it together because he's going to up his game and then he's going to share that with you. Same thing with me. Dave, someone can, and if somebody does do this, that's great. Jordan will probably just do it out of spite, because he's like that. He's very, very, very troublesome to work with. No, I'm just playing. Justin or Jordan or anybody that's an insider can say, Dave, have you ever used DaVinci Resolve, and can you show me how to get started editing in it? And then I'm going to turn around and start doing that. Even if it's on my list and I've never sat down and do it, it's now moved up to the top of the list. So that's something really cool as far as I'm concerned. And DaVinci Resolve, I'm kind of excited about. I'm kind of wanting to get into it anyway. So someone asked that question.
Yeah. With my laptop, I don't have. Anyways, it's a long story, but I'm thinking about in 2020 leaving Adobe Suite and trying either Affinity or Dave's looking around. I don't know what he's looking around for.
What?
Yeah, I'm thinking about moving to Affinity or spend a year just trying to see if I can do like my normal workflow using only open source software.
Very cool. We need to update our
experiment.
We're going to update our open source software video. Sure. That may be one of the earlier ones. Earlier shows we do is open source alternatives. How to pick
the winning lottery numbers. It's the same as picking the loser lottery numbers. It's the exact same process. You just pick 6 numbers.
Yeah. Oh, and then go against your instincts.
Yeah, yeah. And then you just spend all day at the gas station, and then they're like, "Sir, please leave, or at least put on some pants."
Yeah, Tommy, put some pants on.
All right, 2020 predictions. Yes. Let's get into it. Dave, what's your first prediction?
I think if you and I have anything to say about it, I think that more churches will start focusing on their digital outreach as a digital mission field. I think more people will be seeing that. The people that I talk to are now starting to realize that it's not that doing the live stream is not just for who's out this week. That it can actually be the live stream itself can be an outreach tool. And that you can actually develop an audience on there that is not physically in your congregation. We had somebody in Thailand a couple of weeks ago. I did my hey, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Little initial chat when I launched the live stream. About 5 minutes later, blessings from your brothers in Thailand. Whoa, that's awesome. Someone in Thailand found us. I don't even think we have missionaries in the Philippines. We don't have anybody in Thailand, and somebody found it and worshipped with us. And that I think more people will start to realize that is that is a possibility, and that these different platforms that we have are viable mission fields as well, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, and not just a place to say, hey, come to the potluck on Sunday, or continuously just preaching to the choir. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I have a couple other pastors talking to me that are like, what can we do beyond just putting our sermon on there? Like starting an intentional pastor blog, starting an intentional video series, small group content, but on the digital side of it, people that may never be in their city. So yeah, I think for sure we'll use video more for that. I want to move on to your next prediction too, about the PC content on the platforms. I'm very interested to hear what your prediction is for that.
What did I say? My note is increasing uncertainty for politically incorrect content on other platforms. I am seeing, and there's a whole big shakeup that's been going on for a little while over at YouTube. They are culling channels and pulling channels out that may have inflammatory content. In fact, I wish I could remember where this was. I saw something from Susan. Is it Susan? The CEO. There was a statement that they had gotten rid of, I don't know, so many thousands or hundreds of thousands of channels that were offensive channels or something, is what they said. It was something in that quote that made me go, quantify that. Quantify your criteria. Granted, YouTube in particular, they have to deal with advertisers, and advertisers want to attach to certain or attach their brand to certain lifestyles, cultures, value, cores.
Worldview. Vision. Yeah, I think culture maybe might be the lifestyle and culture.
Yeah, they want to attach to certain things, and they don't want to attach to other things. And that not wanting to attach to other things is, for me, is where the problem is. Because if I sell Coca-Cola, I don't care who is buying it, as long as they're putting 50 cents in the machine and a Coke is kicking out and they're drinking it and liking it and wanting another one tomorrow. If I'm selling skateboards, I don't care if a gay person gets a skateboard or if a straight person gets a skateboard. Doesn't matter, as long as they're getting on there and putting some pads on and having a great time. It's kind of like with Chick-fil-A. I've never eaten an LGBT chicken there. I've never eaten a non-LGBT chicken at Chick-fil-A. I just eat chicken, and they make chicken sandwiches, and people buy chicken sandwiches and eat them and enjoy them and then come back next week. So the problem is that there is small groups out there that yell really loud, and they weaponize the platforms like Twitter and some of the others with bots and bot farms and stuff. You and I know that all that stuff is real, and the brands will go, some negative is true, everybody hates us, and so they back off on stuff, whether it's a stand that they're taking, a cultural stand or a religious view or a value stand or whatever. They will back off of that. And that gun shyness is translating into who they're going to attach their. We're not going to support, Chick-fil-A because they don't serve gay sandwiches or whatever, and so it causes problems. And so you got a platform like YouTube that is like, well, we make money through the advertising. We don't make. You and I have not paid YouTube anything, unless we do like an ad or something. We're not funneling cash to them, so they're reliant on the advertisers. And if the advertisers are gun shy, why are the advertisers gun shy? Well, let's remove that ability for them to, that stuff that's going to make them gun shy. And so they're starting to do stuff like that. We're seeing it most notably with the windows that I look through. There's a comedian named Steven Crowder that's also a conservative commentator, a libertarian commentator. He's on the Blaze Network. And, his channel has been demonetized. We've seen people like Dennis Prager, who is a conservative Jew that, teaches constitutional values and stuff, through his videos. And, we've seen them demonetized and stuff being taken down, their stuff being labeled as not safe, so that, if you want to see, for one of his most notable ones is their little 5-minute video on the 10 Commandments that YouTube marked as not safe for children or something like that. And the net result is it's categorized in the same category as pornography and extreme violence is. So you can't even go to the library and the public library and watch this video because those filters are on, the pornography filters and stuff. And why? Because there's a commandment that says thou shalt not murder. And so it talks about murder, so that's not safe for kids. Those thought processes are out there. Guys, if you're doing church, if you're preaching the gospel, every single thing about what we believe is ridiculously offensive. It offends Satan and everything that he's trying to do. And so I see us having a fight coming down the line where our stuff's going to start getting pulled off and doing all of that because it's not politically correct. Because the little group of people that have a really big mouth and a really big megaphone and get all the bots going crazy and riling people up and making this big, huge stink about stuff, the cancel culture folks and all that, the gospel is offensive. We've already seen where we've been devalued, we've been canceled, we've been thrown away, we've been had businesses destroyed and all that because we support a biblical view of marriage. As Christians, then there's just going to be more problems coming down the line. We also know that all this is expected because if you're reading your Bible, if you're seeing, Jesus saying that, no, you're going to have, count it all joy when you get, all these trials and tribulations and when they persecute you. And we know all that sort of stuff's coming. So I just think it's really ramped up throughout 2019. I think it's going to get more. I think there's also going to be a little bit of loosening of the reins at some point, but there's still going to be some of this choking down on stuff like that. I don't know what the future completely holds and how long before our access to YouTube is, you just can't play here anymore. But we're seeing that. We're seeing people say, you don't think like I do. I don't believe like you do. So you can't be here. You can't be in the marketplace. You have to go away. We've seen it with bakeries and things like that. So I just think that more of that's going to come. The reason I'm saying all that is, number one, don't be surprised. Okay. Number two, don't run away. Okay, well, Dave, you tell us to get on YouTube, but then you're telling us YouTube's going to hate us eventually. Yeah, okay, that's the way it is. Right now, the platform is available, so make use of the platform. Follow their guidelines. Don't violate their policies. One of their problems is that they tell you violated policies, and after they decide he violated a policy, make a policy on that, please. Write that up, okay? Yeah, you violated a policy. Which one? You violated one. They're not completely forthcoming with stuff like that. Are we still on?
Yeah.
No, just checking. I'm waiting.
This is the equivalent of me just eating my turkey and stuffing, and Uncle Dave's just going off again. Just keep your head down. Just eat your stuffing, boy.
But what I'm saying is we don't run from these platforms. We need to make use of them as best we can and stuff. The flip side of that is we need to be developing our own. Now, I'm not saying that we should all flock to GodTube or come up with another platform or something like that. But there are other things out there. There's Vimeo. There's other things, and there will be more innovation, I think, over time that will be made available to us. But what I'm saying is just don't throw everything into one platform. We are 100% relying on YouTube. We're not even going to have a church website. Or we're relying on our church Facebook page, our private group, and our YouTube channel. We don't even have a church website. Don't do that. Don't do that, because if and when you get canceled on a whim, where are you?
Okay, so let me go on to my next prediction. I 5G. Let's go back to 5G. I think 5G. I think 2020 is the year of 5G. I don't know why they waited till 2020. I think we're gonna finally get consumer rollout of 5G in 2020. T-Mobile's coming out swinging strong. Verizon's catching up and gonna probably overtake it, maybe even by the end of the year because they just have that infrastructure and ability. But I think 5G is finally going to become like a household thing in 2020. Even if you don't have it, you'll know what it is. You'll know why you want it, and you'll just kind of sit there and wait. Kind of like how we all felt with Google Fiber. Like, oh, Google Fiber's coming. It's so great. Like everyone, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people know what Google Fiber was. Even
Right.
my father-in-law is like, wasn't Google supposed to be building some internet or something like that? Like he doesn't know exactly what it is or why it's important, but he's heard of it. So I think 5G is going to become like a household name, so to speak.
Do you think we'll
And,
have
I
the?
think,
Do you think we'll have like the 5G modems? You know, that like from the cable company or whatever. Do you think
yeah,
we'll
it's
have
gonna.
that type deal?
Well, they already have them. They're just not available anywhere. But yeah, they're gonna roll out the handsets first, and then probably we'll start seeing modems by the end of the year to be able to do that. The problem is, and the thing that makes me sad is because we only have three major phone carriers, four if you count Sprint, they could all easily just say, no, we're not. We're gonna do terabyte limits on everything. So, if you want to use it for your home internet, you're gonna have gigabit speed, but you're only gonna have a terabyte max, which is not gonna cut it for cord cutting families or
Right.
families like yours or mine that are very tech savvy. So modems, I hope so, but we gotta make sure that they're not limited.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that scares me, and I don't know what they're gonna do because you never know what they're gonna do when there's an oligopoly like that. So,
Yeah.
but I think the rollout will continue, and handsets for sure will be really cool. Another thing that's gonna grow, I think, like wildfire. Um, and I don't know anything else like it, Dave, but the Blackmagic A10 Mini
Mm-hmm.
coming out either now or any day now,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to grow like wildfire. I
Okay.
think 50-60% of churches that are live streaming are going to get this, and there's going to be such a shortage, and it's going to be a nightmare because I think, and we talked about this in Mastermind, they made this not knowing how many people actually really were hurting for it.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think if that happens, because the way the product is designed and who they're targeting you, Justin. They're targeting me, who's live streaming here at the house. They're not targeting they're not targeting the church. They're not targeting events. They're not even really targeting maybe small event live streamers. That just a one-man show or something. I think a lot of people are going to buy them. I think a lot of people are going to put them in, and I think a good portion are going to return them, or they will use them for a little bit and then upgrade to the full ATEM studio, because it is very limited. It is very limited. What you're sending out of that output port can go to a monitor, or it can go to your computer for live streaming and stuff. There is no multi-view built into it, so I can't have three cameras stationed around and be looking at the screen and see camera 1 is pointing over here, camera 2 is pointing over there, and camera 3 I need you to tighten in. I can't see that. All I can see is the current camera I'm previewing. So I have to look at it and see what it is, and then make him do something, and then change it. So if you're doing something like this, then I know that this camera is set exactly the way I want it. I know that this camera is set exactly the way I want it. I can just go back and forth. I don't even have to preview them because I know that they're there. I don't have to have multi-view up. Right now, I can look and see every input I have on here. In vMix, the lack of flexibility with that, and it's just a $300 unit, or is it $399 or $299? It's $300.
Yeah, 290 something.
Yeah.
$299
So,
or something like that.
it is a stripped down production studio. It's really convenient. It's really inexpensive. It's a lot better than the Roland V1 unit that's out there. But if you want to get usable functionality, then you're starting to buy other things. You're going to get a $500 or $400 Blackmagic Multiview unit that you're going to plug into and add to. I mean, you're going to start piecing it out, and or you can spend like $1,000 for a basic ATM unit with much more inputs.
Is that we cannot get that $1,000? We can get this $300.
Right.
And for a lot of people, this is like where it's going to start.
Yes.
Not where it's going to end.
No, it's not. It's not going to be the end.
And yeah, it's not made for event production, but that's how we're going to use it.
Yeah, it's
that's small price point.
Right.
And you say it's limited. Yeah, it's limited compared to $1,000, but it's way better than what we have right now, which is nothing. And so I think because of that, and we can have different predictions, it's gonna explode. And like I said, more people are gonna want it than Blackmagic thinks, because again, they're thinking, oh, it's just for Dave and Justin. Right. But no, it's AJ's already talking about it. A lot of people are already talking about it. It's gonna be hard to get. I think that's why they haven't released it yet, because they didn't realize how much production they needed, like Chris thought.
Right.
In Mastermind. I think it's going to grow like fire. I think in the church media circles, a lot of people are going to be talking about the A10 Mini and be going out to get one in 2020.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think their lifespan in those churches is going to be limited, unless they're doing one camera or unmanned stuff.
And I think that's going to be a majority of them.
Or I mean, in which case, you and I will probably direct them to more cost-effective ways to do it, because $100 for a USB stick that you stick in and plug your camera in, and free software actually has more functionality than the ATEM has built into it.
Right.
So
right.
But
the expandability of it is going to be something that
the expandability is going to be very very minimum. But
and then we both had
it is going to sell well.
We both had a prediction about TikTok.
Yeah. I think TikTok is going to mature. Right now it is loaded with dance memes and all that other kind of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting to see how marketers try to use it and how ineffective that's going to be, or will they use it properly and it will end up being ridiculously effective, because they're building engagement and know, like, and trust and brand fun, let's say, around their brand. And oh, by the way, go to our website. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, buy our product, right here on TikTok, and swipe up to get. And I don't think any of that's going to work. I don't think, and it's still a very young audience that doesn't have money. So, what I'm wondering is how churches are going to do it. I have run across some ministers and ordinary folk who are using it kind of like you use Instagram to send out encouragement, to do thoughts, to start conversations, little things like that. I think people are going to find new ways to use it and to engage that actually have meaning beyond just entertainment value. And I think it'll be interesting to see how all that kind of fleshes out.
Yeah, so it's already the #1 app in the Apple App Store. If it's not #1, it drops down to #2 for a couple of days, and then it's going back up. I just checked. Disney Plus is the #1 app in the Apple App Store, and TikTok is #2. But that will soon. TikTok will just go back up because of the worldwide influence it has, and it's just gaining track in America. But yeah, it does have a younger audience. However, I'm not so much concerned with how churches are going to use it, because churches just by default don't use things the right way.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are they going to magically fix that with TikTok? However, it's like I was talking to a business owner about it, and I was like, hey, you need to get your TikTok brand name. You need to go ahead and reserve it and start consuming it. And he's like, so what do? We just tell people about what we do? And I'm like, no. All you do is just make them laugh, make their lives better, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
And it doesn't have to be encouragement, right? Like, there's some great Christian TikTok content creators. Some of them make you laugh. Some of them make you think. Some of them educate you. Like, there's one that I follow that talks about, all he talks about is like dinosaurs in the Ark. That's pretty much all he talks about. And it's like, oh, it's fascinating. He's just sitting there holding a cup of coffee, and he's like, yep, dinosaurs on the ark. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not funny. It's thought provoking. It's interesting. And there's another girl on there that shares encouragements and verses, and hey, you're not defined by a relationship with a boy and all that stuff. It's really good stuff, and that's the kind of stuff we need to look at, and not hey, we got another event coming up. Now here's a funny dance to tell you about it. Like, don't do that. That's such cringe. But I think, my prediction is that it will just continue to grow in popularity. There's actually a funny meme right now that people are like, oh, I'm on TikTok creating a video. This is how it starts. Download TikTok as a joke. Start watching the videos with your friends. Start watching the videos by yourself. Create an account to like and favorite videos. Post your first video, and this is it. That's like a whole meme on TikTok. But it really is entertaining, and just a micro, just escape me from this world, the way Facebook used to be. Now you can't go on Facebook and you just see more problems. You go on Instagram, you see more problems. You feel worse about yourself. You feel worse about the world. Snapchat almost used to be like that too. You just escape within messages with friends. And now TikTok's that way too, where, there's some political stuff on there, but it's easier to discover other things than, your uncle talking about the actual Christian code inside of the 12 days of Christmas, Uncle Dave. So, I think it will continue to grow in popularity. Another meme on TikTok is how many 30-year-olds are just finding out and creating videos now. So as that demographic grows, then yeah, it'll be easier to monetize and, get the name out there and stuff. But yeah, I think for sure TikTok will continue to grow in popularity. And again, that household name recognition. And I don't know if churches are going to be on it successfully. I think it's more of like it's easier right now to do personal branding on TikTok, much like Twitter is easier to do personal branding than a business. But I do think it will grow. And then last thing, I have a wild card here because it's like every year I just try to take a shot and just say, this is something that's going to happen. And I have no backup, no research on it. I just have a feeling that 3D printing, we kind of had a little bit of a legal argument with the whole 3D printing guns and 3D printing intellectual property. I think 3D printing, the legal fight for 3D printing will come back in 2020, and it could have some disastrous consequences. Like, for example, there's already been people getting in trouble for 3D printing phone cases. There's been people in trouble for 3D printing parts and stuff for copyrighted intellectual properties, like, oh, we own this type of screw, you can't make your own. I think we might even see companies like making proprietary everything to prevent people from 3D printing, just a spare part for something, or I don't know. I want to throw it out there as a wild card. I think 3D printing, you're going to see maybe something go to the Supreme Court in 2020 as far as intellectual stuff. I think some of the sites will become a little bit more mainstream as well with, hey, did you know that you can 3D print this? I think public libraries should all have a 3D printer. Mm-hmm. That would be a total madhouse, but that would be so cool.
All the ones around here do.
All the ones around there do in Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, cool. Mine doesn't, but maybe it's just the one by my house. We're kind of outside of Houston, but I think 3D printing is gonna really, not everyone's gonna go buy one like a regular printer, but I think it's gonna start entering the conversation a little bit more. Yeah, that's my wild card pick. So you'll see 3D printing and the legal fight hit the mainstream a little bit more.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. And that happens with any kind of a disruptive technology. I guess one question that I would have just regarding that, just sort of looking at an analog, I've got several friends that have like CNC machines and plasma cutters and all this kind of stuff. Where's the legal fight around that? Because they can turn around and make a bracket, to put on your car to, if the bracket that holds your alternator is broken, I got a friend that can, go make one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So why isn't, I don't know, AC Delco or whoever is out there, Bill and Ted's Excellent.
I think it's because it's
why aren't they you see what I'm saying?
It's a skill to cut, weld, and woodwork.
Sure.
But it's not a skill for me. You can argue this or whatever. For me to go to a website and download the latest OtterBox case and then print it. Right?
Yeah. If and here's the thing, if OtterBox is smart, OtterBox will put the plans up for doing that. They will have the digital plans that you can buy for, $9.99, and then customize it however you want and do it. That's where the solution is going to be for a lot of this stuff.
That's where the solution is. However, the old fogies on the board,
they're gonna do it. And what would be great is the really loud small group of folks that get out there and yell and scream about all sorts of stuff and make mountains out of molehills. If they would jump on, we will see people like Anonymous do stuff like that. They will jump on and they'll, fight on the side of more information being out there and doing things like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm curious. Were you listening to some podcast? Were you listening to Joe Rogan or something, and that got mentioned and it got stuck in your brain and you can't get it out now?
No, I was literally just talking about 3D printing with my dad. I can't remember what it was. I think we were talking about trim clips for the car and how I had to order some and had to find the ones that I ordered on Amazon from 3 years ago, which was pretty easy. But it was like, man, it would be nice just to print some. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, 3D printer. Just print some. Like, print some trim clips. It's one piece of plastic that clicks. Like, it's probably not that hard.
And your dad's going to come home today with a MakerBot, I bet.
That would be awesome. But no. Yeah, and Tommy has a 3D printer. He said Lego's chasing down 3D printing folks, for printing their own. It's kind of like, I don't know why I just made this connection, but, you didn't always buy a Barbie doll or a Barbie dream house. Okay, better example. Like, we bought our daughter a Barbie dream house playset, but I, being the old school guy that I am, I would have much rather taken an old bookshelf, wallpapered it on the 3 levels, cut stairs out of the casings or whatever. Like, I like that. And, you can play with Barbies inside of it. I'm kind of imagining, like, instead of going out and buying this whatever, you're kind of printing it at home, kind of culture thing. So I don't know. It's just, he's talking about Lego chasing down 3D printing folks. It's like, well, hey, we can go spend $100 on a Lego set, or why don't you just let me print some bricks for you and let's use your imagination like we used to. It doesn't have to be the Millennium Falcon. You can make, just generic bricks like Blockos or, call them Davos.
the Tyco bricks and all that. Yeah.
Dagos. And then metal 3D printing, he said, is new but coming. So that'll be interesting too. I imagine that would be really loud.
Yeah, I would think so.
Anyways, did you have any other predictions?
No. It's not a prediction. It's what I hope, and it goes back to people, churches, ministries developing their own platforms and not, using what's out there to supplement and to point back to their own home base, which is something you and I talk about a lot. Is, that's why we have Church Training Academy. That's why, we're not building everything in a Facebook group. We're not building everything in a Facebook page. We're not building everything just on a YouTube channel. We've got bits and pieces everywhere, and if one of them becomes unavailable to us, we can turn around and find a competitor and use that one. You know what I'm saying? And so I predict that the need for that will continue to be made apparent. I hope that the people that are listening to this are wise enough to see that and start laying that groundwork. And that's something that Justin and I can help you with. So if you want to become a member, you can always go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join and find out about becoming a CTA Insider. If you don't want to become a member but still want to lurk around and try to glean as much information as you can, then definitely go to churchmediahacks.com and join our private Facebook group. And there's a great growing community. 4,000 strong, something like that, in there.
Something like 4,000 on YouTube. We have 2,700 on Church Media.
There it is, 27. That's right. So it's growing. It's really cool, and always get on our YouTube channel. Anyway, if this has been helpful for you, if you have learned something, then by all means share with everybody. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, take a look at this video right here. I'm making sure I'm pointing in the right space. Or take a look at that one. This one may actually be better than that one, but you be the judge. Anyway, regardless, thanks for watching. Justin and I will see you in the next video. And I'm going to do a quick fade out.